Have you been wondering how and when you will be able to get your permanent residence in Germany? Let's face it, we all want this precious document to have more freedom, flexibility, and of course, less visits to the immigration office. While you need to usually be working in Germany for 5 years in a row to be able to get this document, there are a few paths to fast track your application, and some of them are even only 21 months. That is less than 2 years. In this video, we are going to talk about who qualifies for a fast-track application, the general requirements everyone needs to fulfill, including fast-track applicants, how to apply, what costs are involved, and some most common FAQs. Like, for example, can I lose my permanent residence? And is there a validity to this document? Hey, my name is Jen and I'm from Guatemala.
And mine is Yvonne and I'm German.
And together we're from simplegermany.com, where we create English content to empower internationals like you to settle into life in Germany more smoothly. Okay, let's dive right into it. So what are the different fast tracks and timeframes to qualify for a PR, which is short for permanent residence?
There are 7 different groups in general that qualify for fast track. Now, I just want to say and emphasize again, now we will only discuss the time frame that gets shortened from 5 years to X amount, which we will name for each group. All the other requirements, which we will discuss in the next section of the video, still need to be fulfilled. Just to be clear. So let's start with the 4 different paths for skilled workers. First, there is the general skilled worker, which pretty much describes anyone that has a foreign academic or foreign vocational training degree certification that is recognized or comparable to a German one. Pretty much the whole topic about Anabin for degrees and vocational training in a similar aspect. If you don't know what I'm talking about, you can watch this video up here or the link in the description about recognition. And if you identify as a general skilled worker, then you can already apply for permanent residency after 3 years of working in Germany. Next up in our skilled workers category are, of course, the EU blue card holders. Again, if you don't know what the requirements are to get a blue card, watch our video here or the one in the description about the EU blue card. The EU blue card really is often described as the golden ticket, and this is also becoming clear in what we're about to say, because the EU blue card already gets you permanent residency after 27 months if you only have an A1 level of German. And I'm emphasizing this so much because everyone else, regardless of fast track or not, everyone else needs to prove a B1 level of German. So this one, 27 months, and only A1 level of German really is like a exclusivity, if you want to put it that way.
Totally. And I mean, getting an A1 level certificate is super easy, I would say. It's just a few months of lessons compared to other levels when we did our research for the How to Learn German. Definitely. Wow, that is super quick.
Yeah. And as if that is not enough yet, EU blue card holders get another perk and one of the fastest fast tracks even possible. Because if you do the effort, which we encourage you to do, and learn German up to a B1 level, like everyone else, however, in a shorter time frame, you can already qualify for the permanent residency in Germany after 21 months. That is, as we mentioned in the beginning, less than 2 years. That is unbelievable. That is like amazing. So if your goal is to get permanent residency as fast as possible, get a blue card in terms of your profession and the job that you get, and start learning German, 21 months later, you are a permanent resident.
That is so crazy. That is so cool. I wish this would have existed when I moved to Germany, because this is part of the new law, right?
Correct.
Because when I moved here, it was completely different, and I had to wait the 5 years in general. Yeah, super cool. Now let's go to the next skilled worker, and those are graduates of German university, or they graduated in Germany from a vocational training. And if you identify with this, you can apply to a permanent residence, PR, 2 years after you have been working in Germany in a field related to your studies. So you can also fast track that way.
And the 4th category, as part of the Skilled Workers Act in that sense, are highly skilled professionals. Now, please be aware, highly skilled professionals is different than the general skilled worker. And highly skilled professional is something that for me still has a little bit of a question mark. And that is because it is a case-by-case decision of, let's say, the caseworker at the embassy and or the caseworker at your local immigration office here in Germany. And the amazing thing that if you are a highly skilled professional you should be aware of is that you can apply for permanent residency straight from the get-go. With the moment you land in Germany and apply for your work permit, you don't need to hold a temporary work permit from the beginning. That is, again,
that is super crazy.
Now that of course begs the question, who is considered a highly skilled professional? And I'm reading now from the law directly, just to give you an understanding of how open the determination, how open the definition of a highly skilled professional is. It says, highly qualified professionals, in particular those with several years of professional experience, 1. Scientists with special technical knowledge, or 2. Teachers in a senior position or academic staff in a senior position. This is directly from the law. I Googled, translated it to English just for the point of reading it. And it pretty much says nothing concrete. That is why it's a case-by-case decision. But if you qualify, if you identify yourself in that area, be sure to ask whether you qualify for permanent residency directly.
Yeah, that would be super awesome. You get that's like the ultimate fast track, I think. But it reads that you kind of need to just be like a scientist in a very specific area or a very senior teacher. But again, here also begs the question, do you need to be a qualified teacher?
Yeah. I mean, you're a highly qualified professional, so you need to be recognized, everything.
So you need to be recognized, right? Yeah. So that is interesting. I think this is kind of like a tricky one that definitely you need to consult someone whether you qualify or not, and we are not it. Okay, so those were the 4 different fast tracks for skilled workers. Now let's step outside of the skilled workers and talk about the other 3 fast tracks that you can also, if you apply, can get a fast PR. Number 1 is if you are self-employed. If you are self-employed, you can apply for a PR after 3 years of working in Germany, as long as you have a thriving business, which I guess you have to be in the positive.
Yeah, it has to provide enough financial means.
Yeah, because you also need to prove that you have enough financial means to sustain your life in Germany.
Correct. Next up are family members of German citizens. If you identify as such, you already qualify for PR after 3 years. And the last fast track that we are aware of are spouses of foreign nationals who already hold their PR in Germany. And here is a little bit of a caveat. So if you are on a family reunification visa with a spouse that is working full-time in Germany, you have 2 options. You either have to sit out the regular 5 years, that is not really a fast track, because everyone else has 5 years as well, or you could fast track that to 3 years if you also work minimum 20 hours per week, pretty much if you hold a part-time job. So this is a new requirement that encourages spouses, partners, the plus ones, to actually do seek a part-time job. We think that is a good encouragement also because the moment you get out of the house, you integrate better, you learn German better, and you're not just at home alone. So this is, another enticement to go get that part-time job.
Yeah, definitely. That's also super interesting. Now, what are the general requirements everyone, including fast-track applicants, need to fulfill? General requirement number 1 is that you need to be working in Germany for at least 5 years. But, like as we mentioned in the previous section of this video, there are ways that you can fast-track that. But if you don't apply to any of those, then you need to wait and the 5 years of working here to then be able to apply to the PR.
Next up, requirement number 2 is tied to requirement number 1, because if you've noticed, we always mention the word working in Germany, not living in Germany. And that is because of requirement number 2. You need to have contributed into the German public pension fund for at least 60 months. Now, how do you do that? You do that by holding a general position that is beyond a mini job in Germany, so a part-time job or a full-time job, where every month from your salary, before you get the netto in your pocket, your employer will substitute social contributions. Part of that is the contribution for the pension fund. Now again, the general requirement is 60 months. But of course, if you qualify for a fast track, which we explained in the previous section, then the month required will be reduced to the general amount that you need to have been working. So if it's 2 years, it's 24 months for the pension fund. Those 2 are always tied together. The way that you prove that you have contributed for X amount of months is by requesting a Rentenversicherungsverlauf from your local pension fund. You can request this document online or go personally to your local pension fund and they can print it out on the spot. In our guide, which you will be able to find in the description, we will link to the German pension fund where you can find further instructions.
And again, to emphasize, any time that you have been in Germany and you have not been working, that means that you have not been contributing to the pension fund, and therefore that time does not count. The only months that will count are the ones that you have actually worked either full-time or part-time in Germany. This is important to keep in mind.
And this is often a hurdle for self-employed because self-employed don't have the obligation to pay into the German pension fund and often don't do so. However, without this requirement, there is no way to get a permanent residency. That is why if you are self-employed and you would like to get the permanent residency in the future, you need to plan ahead. And you can, for example, also sign up to a private pension fund that is comparable to the public one. Those exist exactly for those purposes. And we will link our trusted insurance partners in the description below that provide these pension funds.
Also here, self-employed, we're also talking about freelancers,
yes.
right? It's not just self-employed that you have a Gewerbe, but also you are registered as a freelancer.
Correct.
Next requirement is that you have no criminal record. And for this, you will need to actually ask for an official document called
Führungszeugnis.
There's an umlaut in there, so and that you can do. Where do you do this? At the police station?
No, you actually do this with your local Bürgeramt or actually online, because if you have an e-residence permit, then you can also request it digitally without needing to appear in person. One of the services from the government that has been digitalized already.
Whoop, whoop. Next up is that you need to have a B1 German level. Now, how do you prove that you have a B1? Well, most likely you would need a certificate. Again, this has come also from my experience. Usually the case officer will want a certificate saying that you have completed a B1 course. And this could either be through an integration course that was mandatory and you achieved this level, a language course. Is there any other way?
Just a test, a language test?
Just a language test. Yeah, but usually when you do a course and you get the certificate, it's after you've done the official test.
Yeah, but you can also do a course without a test, and you could just do a test without an extra course beforehand.
Yeah, that is true.
Next requirement is that you need to prove your financial stability. And that you can do as an employee through your work contract and your last pay slips. How many pay slips depends on the city. In my research, I've seen cities that request 3, others request 6. You will find out when you do your research for your city. If you're self-employed, you could prove this, for example, through your last tax declaration.
Next up is proof of registration and accommodation. So for this, most likely you will be requested to show your rental contract where ideally your name is on it, right?
However, if it's not, for example, in your case, it wasn't because the rental contract was on my name, I asked my landlord to write an email certifying that she is aware and approves that Jan is living with me, and the rental contract plus that email was sufficient.
Yes, exactly. And that is for accommodation. And for registration, well, you will need your Meldebescheinigung, which is the document that you receive after you've done your Anmeldung.
And the space or the place where you live in needs to be sufficient in size for family members if you have any that you're also supporting. Next up, you will need to prove that you are health insured in Germany, and for that you can also, with your health insurance, request a printout that says that you have been or are currently insured there.
Now, if you are a fast track applicant, you need to also show proof that you can fast track. So for example, if you're an e-blue card holder, you need to show your e-blue card. If you're married to a German citizen, you need to show your marriage certificate. Anyways, you need to provide a document that proves that you are eligible to apply for the fast track.
And another requirement that is new throughout the years after which you received a permanent residency is that now you already need to prove that you understand the German social and political landscape for your permanent residency. Before, in the past, this has only been a requirement for the citizenship application, but now it is also part of the PR. And how do you do that? You do that ideally through a certificate that you have passed the Leben in Deutschland or German citizenship test. They are both the same, the exact same test that just carry 2 different names. If you'd like to know more about the test, then you can again watch our video on where we describe how Jen passed it and how you can prepare best.
We also have a study guide that we created for that. It's kind of like the study guide that I used to prepare for my test a few years ago, but now we bundle it up. And if you're interested in it, then you can also check it in the description below. It's pretty much all the questions translated to English and explained by a human.
You'll also need to submit at least 1 biometric picture that, of course, is being used to create your permanent residency ID card.
Yes. And the next requirement is that you need a valid passport. A passport from your home country. Now, we do know and are aware that there are certain countries where you might not be able to access a valid passport, maybe for political reasons or whatnot. But don't worry, because there is a great partner that we have found, which are immigration lawyers called Migrando, that help internationals that want to either know whether they can already apply for the permanent residence or can help those who have these tricky situations like not a valid passport. And for that, you can take their free test on their website, which you can answer a few questions, and then it will let you know at the end of it your score, whether you can apply for a PR or not yet. You need to fulfill certain requirements. So you can find the test in the description box below, where you can take the free test from Migrando.
The test that Jen just mentioned, I actually took it myself, and it qualifies for the permanent residency or citizenship requirements. So it will tell you either or you qualify for the higher one, which would be citizenship, for example, or you're not qualified yet and what you're missing. So this is really a great way to figure out what is needed based on your temporary residence permit, because they all have little different paragraphs they're based on, and those actually matter.
Definitely. But how cool is it that you go to see, oh, let me see if I qualify for the PR, and then bam, so you qualify for the citizenship. That'd be awesome. Now, to the big question is, how do you actually apply for the PR?
You go to the website of your local immigration office from your city and apply digitally. Now,
Wait, what? Apply digitally?
Yes.
Whoa.
Nowadays, most cities, if not all, have transferred everything to digital application. You will most likely appear in person at some point to submit your biometrics, but the entire communication beforehand and the submittance of your documents is digitally.
The submittance?
Yes.
I don't know if that's a real word, but the submitting, yes.
It's my word.
Okay.
Yeah. So I can only encourage you to really go read the pages of your local immigration office, because each immigration office still has somewhat of different steps to take. For example, in Munich, you still need to fill out a full-on application form, either in the shape of a PDF or in the shape of going through a questionnaire that you just need to click through. In Berlin, you simply need to send an application that is formless, so no form needed, and you just need to pretty much say, I want to apply for permanent residence based on this requirement that I'm fulfilling, and then add all the documents that you need. The thing is, you are responsible to adding all the required documents. If you miss one, this will delay the process of actually getting your PR. So again, the job is on you to do your proper research and fulfill whatever your immigration office wants from you.
Yes, exactly. And the general requirements that we said in the previous section still apply. However, every immigration office might amend them or tweak them a little bit or add something extra or actually not require one. So definitely, like you already pointed out, but I want to emphasize, is to double check with your immigration office in your city to see what are the requirements for your city. And also super important, I think it goes without saying, is that you cannot apply for a PR in Berlin if you live in Munich. You need to apply for the city that you live in.
If you're getting value out of this video, then please be also sure to like it and subscribe to our channel if you would like to see more from us in terms of immigration news, but also just basic information on how to settle into life in Germany.
Definitely. And if you haven't subscribed, you should do it already. So now to the next question is, how much does a PR cost? As of 2024, an application for the PR is 113 euros, except, because of course there's always exceptions, if you're self-employed or freelancer is 124 euros. And if you're one of these mysterious, highly professional unicorns,
Highly skilled professionals?
highly skilled professional unicorns is 147 euros.
Which in the grand scheme of things, I find that super cheap.
Yes, I definitely agree. It's very budget friendly.
Now let's get to a couple of FAQs that keep popping up with regards to this topic. And one of them is, can you lose your permanent residence in Germany? And the answer is yes, you can. Because permanent residency is different to citizenship, which is for life. If you leave Germany more than 6 months without getting prior approval from the immigration office, because you have a valid reason for it, then your permanent residence will expire. It will no longer be in effect. So you cannot leave Germany longer than 6 months at a time.
Okay, that is good to know. And as long as you don't leave Germany for more than 6 months without the approval of the, immigration office, then your PR is unlimited. It's forever. However, the document itself does expire like a passport. So it depends, you have to look on the document what you received, whether it's a 5-year or 10-year PR. But generally speaking, renewing the PR should be a relatively easy, straightforward process, just like how you would renew a passport.
Exactly. Speaking of passport, also your passport needs to stay valid because they are ultimately linked to each other in some way or another. So both documents, don't let them expire, but always keep them up to date and active.
Yes, good point. All right, as we mentioned, one of the requirements to get your PR is to actually pass the Leben in Deutschland test, which is the same as the German citizenship test. And if you would like to know more information on how to prepare best and how does a test look like and all the juicy stuff, make sure to check out our video here on the left. Until next time, cheers! And now here, please, the disclaimer, and with her little like dun, 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 music. Graduates or
visa with your spouse. And your spouse is the one that is working full-time.
I'm sorry, can you say spouse?
Spouse.
Yeah, there you go. Sorry, dying here.